And it's the same thing, it doesn't matter whether it's a casting, it's your first day on the set, you the actor, the art of it is you knowing this instrument, knowing how to push those buttons, how to connect to the subtext, the heart, the soul of what drives this character. Where did this character come from? Where is this character going? What is the relationship between you and everybody you're interacting with? And you've got to build a relationship that's not intellectual, but you've got to translate that understanding that may start in the head. You got to translate it to an organic, emotional, intuitive place so that you're feeling it. Because when you act from the head, it's like painting numbers. It's the difference between a Rembrandt that costs millions and millions of dollars and a painting by the numbers. So often, when everything's on the line, what do? We kind of sometimes opt for the safe way, right? And what do we do when we are afraid? We tend to want to be in control, right? So we want to make sure we say those lines exactly the way we want to say them, so we end up trying to perfect line readings. That's called result-oriented acting, and that's where fear takes you. But it's at those moments that you have to have learned the craft and art of acting and learned about you, and you know what kind of a preparation, whatever exercise you have to do, whatever you have to do to get you connected, emotionally, psychologically ready to step in to that moment, right? I was on a set for a movie, and it was the most important scene of the night. And I'll never forget it because, you know, I could tell from the beginning of the shoot that they were going to run out of money before they ever got to the important shots because they were taking so long on every single little shot, which is a tendency. We want to make everything perfect. But I knew right then we were in trouble. So the night that they finally get to the final scene, the most important payoff scene, where my character, who has been abused, misused, violated his entire life, and he's gotten everybody who ever fucked him over in the room, this big mausoleum, and he's doing this art showing. And what he does is he locks all the doors, and what he's going to do is kill everybody at the end of the speech. And this speech is where he says everything he ever wanted to say. He addresses everything he ever wanted to address with everybody. He really gets into it before he takes them out. And so what did I do? I was exhausted, long shoot, and so I lay down because they told me they weren't going to get to the shoot for a couple of hours, and I fall asleep, and the AD doesn't wake me up. I asked him to wake me up at least 2 hours before we shoot. Comes to me, knocks me, says, we're shooting in 5 minutes. I need you at the camera. I got up, I went into this big church. The crew is sitting like this. The extras are like this. Everybody's half asleep. And the director walks up to me and says, Richard, listen, we only have enough film for one take. So we're going to start wide and we're going to dolly in. So it'll be a wide shot and we dolly into a single. And it's a big, long monologue. Right? I was, I have to tell you, a little pissed, a little frustrated. But I have to tell you, it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter. Because most of the time, and I've seen brilliant performances in acting class. I've seen acting class, people do work that would win them Academy Awards in acting class in an optimum environment where they're supported, where they have coaching and mentoring and feedback, support, right? And where they have faith, trust, because they know everybody. So very rarely do you have that. You're usually working with strangers in weird places. It's freezing, it's cold, you're in 3 hours sleep, right? So you have to learn to rock and roll with whatever you get and still bring it. So what did I do? All I remember is I'm sitting here, everybody's falling asleep, cameraman's half dead, and my thought is, because I've been in the business just a little while longer than most people, and I know what happens when everybody's half asleep. People forget to do things. The sound doesn't work. There's a glitch over here. There's this. There's a million things that can go wrong, even when you're paying attention. So I had to do a couple of things, and this is what I did. I put my stepfather out there. Why? Because I grew up with a stepfather that was so pissed off and angry at us, me and my brother, because my mother gave us all the love, and he didn't get anything, and he was really jealous and competitive, and he was really mean and cruel, and he really caused me some really harsh pain. Well, I have to get in touch with this man's murderous pain, anguish, frustration, right? Put my stepfather out there, and I went off on him. You mother! And I went off on this guy, and I'm screaming, and I'm yelling, and I'm going after him like this, and nobody knows what I'm doing. The crew wakes up, the extras wake up, everybody wakes up, and at the top of my voice at the end of this big tirade, I go, roll the goddamn camera! Everybody, take a deep breath. Now I've learned, by the way, it's very important to learn this. After I do this whole thing, and I'm not just doing it to wake up, I made an absolute 3,000% commitment to talking to this hypothetical human being, seeing that person's eyes, face, and actors learn what to do to get to any particular emotional topography. After I got into it, I had so much rage. I was so into it. But I knew one thing, this is a long dolly push-in. You can't start a scene with a long monologue at the height, right? Emotional height. I also knew that I was all locked up. And I knew that when you get into your anger, sometimes you get stuck, right? You get locked in, you get stuck. So what I did was, took a big deep breath while they're rolling the camera, took a big deep breath, and I just let it all go. Because I had learned that when I really blow a hole in the wall that separates us from our talent, from our feelings, from our vulnerability, from that deeper creative center inside of us, I knew all I had to do was to totally let it all go. Didn't have to hang on to it, for fear I'm not going to feel something. I just let it go, and it put me in this most vulnerable, receptive state, which, by the way, is the optimum acting state. When I'm out of my head, I'm into this deeper, intuitive, vulnerable place. Vulnerability doesn't mean you're crying. It means you're open, accessible to feeling the full range of emotions. And then all I had to do was let the material move me, touch me, moment to moment. And I just started the scene. And slowly that dolly came in, and it started to move into a deeper, more powerful place. And it just went through this whole range. It was one of the best takes I've ever had. Best moments. And I only had one take. Only one take, and we got it. So, again, what did I do? I could sit there and blame the director, right? I could blame the AD, I could blame everybody. There's no blaming anybody. You, the art, is you knowing how, right, to take this incredible instrument we have and know how to make those choices, decisions, exercises, preparations, whatever you have to do.